offline sharks, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the Aloha Friday Marketing Jam Session. I'm Tom Gaddis. Nick Ponte's on here with me as well. What's up, Nick?
Hey.
Yeah, I don't know which way. I never know which way to point.
This is not where you are. You're in the opposite direction.
This way. So you can go this way. Yeah. I hope it doesn't sound too echoey. So I'm still populating the office, but hopefully it doesn't sound too bad.
No, it's good. Are you gonna put like your soundproofing everywhere, like a real OG podcaster studio?
And I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. But we just got here.
You're working with a lot of room.
Oh yeah, this office is big. I don't know if you can here. Look, let me see if I can do this. I mean,
oh yeah.
Lots of space there. I mean, like, look at this. Look at this. You should see all the room I have for the setup and everything.
Wow.
Look,
wow.
No books yet. But yeah, I mean, lots of room. It's looking pretty good. I got this new little camera here, so we'll see how that works out.
Nice. Hey,
yeah.
Look, it's
got here to Vegas Saturday, so. What's up, Dorn? What's up, Richard? Welcome. Well, listen, we have a great live show lined up for you. We've got a special guest we're going to bring on again this week that we're really excited about. Before we do all that, though, we have a couple of things we want to do. But before we even do that, we need to cue the intro.
Are you ready for the fastest 60 minutes of local marketing strategy, tactics, tips, and fun on planet Earth? It's now time. The moment you've been waiting for. After 167 agonizing hours, they've returned. Broadcasting live from their island retreats, smack dab in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and now back for a brand new Sharks Live show. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
StreamYard has updated and changed some of this. Listen to the crowd out there. But they've changed some of their settings that all looks weird. It's throwing me for a loop because it doesn't look the same as the last time I did this.
It's been a while.
Well, I wasn't here last week, because I was en route, as they say. It was pretty crazy. I was stretching out while we were playing that intro song because I don't want to pull a hammy or anything. You gotta be limber when you do the live shows. Gotta be limber.
Yeah. So how did your move go? Is it all smoothed out?
Yeah, everything went super smooth. I mean, we're still waiting for the car and the pod. Those won't be here for a little while, but no, the move itself went great. Patches did great on the plane. We landed in LA Friday night around midnight, stayed in a hotel, and then we drove on Saturday, which was good. So we drove over to Vegas. It was fun. Yeah, so I had a good time. It was the girls' first road trip. Like, those kids have only been in a car on Maui. Like, they have no idea it was a 5-hour drive, right? They have no idea not just what a 5-hour drive is. They've never been on like a 2-hour drive because there's like, it's crazy. So yeah. Hey, Patty. Hey, Janice. Welcome everybody to that. Cool.
Well, I forgot. I wanted to bring this up because, man, we have a great topic of discussion today, which is sales and prospecting. This is our boot camp today, and we got a special guest with us. And Tom, I actually closed a client this morning, a carpet cleaner.
That's awesome.
And so I have some questions that I want to ask our special guest. Selfishly, I'm sure you guys will get a lot of value out of it. But just to get a good read on everybody that's here with us, who feels like they are comfortable with doing sales? Put from 1 to 10, level 10 being the greatest. I'm super confident. I crush the sales. Anybody I call, I turn into a paid invoice, or 5, kind of medium, 1, not confident at all. Give us a good read so we can. I see our special guest is in the waiting room already, so she'd like to. I'm sure it'd be good for her to get some good info. Lots of 10s. Look at that. Lots of sharks. Good stuff. All right. Well, we're gonna dive into that in a little bit here. We're gonna bring our guests out in a minute. We're gonna go through some of our usual stuff first, Tom.
Yeah. First thing we need to do is we need to celebrate some success here. So hold on, let me get this out of the way. There we go. Got to get that window out of the way there. And then I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to do some shark shoutouts. Awesome. So another fantastic week for the sharks inside the Facebook group. So every week, what we do is we like to share all the successes that people have inside the group. You can go to this link, offlinesharks.com/shoutouts. Just congratulate these people. Tell them good job. Celebrate their wins. And then towards the end of the stream, we pick some random people out of there and we send you some Cash App money. So that's always good. Congratulate, make some people feel good, and have a chance to win some money. So just go to that link, offlinesharks.com/shoutouts. Leave a good job. Way to go. Awesome work. And now let's talk about our shark shout out winners today. So the first one up is Ruben Rothschild. So Ruben got his first mailer filled up in 10 days. 10 days. That's amazing.
I saw him coming through just every day, new, and he really used the group to be accountable. Like he just said, like, I got one today, I got two today. A couple of times he got more than one, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the way that thing goes. That's awesome work, Ruben. He sold 11 of the spots for 500 and 6 for 250. He made some smaller spots on his card. So that's a great model. Great job, Ruben. Way to go. Way to just get in there and take action, crush it. And I mean, think about that. What is that? So he said 11 at 500, right? And then he did, what did he say? 6 at 250.
Are you doing the math right now?
Yeah. Oh no, he did $7,000. Yeah. Well, I'm not doing the math. I'm doing it on the calculator's doing the math. So but yeah, I mean, $7,000 in revenue in 10 days. That's $700 a day.
That's a golf clap for sure.
Yeah. Oh, here, we'll give him some applause because no, that's really awesome. And I mean, if you're on this call, like think about that. What would $700 a day, like 10 days to get seven? I mean, that's great. So way to go, Ruben. Awesome work. I love seeing that stuff. Our next shout out goes to Arnell Levy. So Arnell sold a mailer spot to a local business and scored a $340 gift card gig from that business owner as well. Now he's doing printing services is being added as an upsell, downsell, along with selling 9x12 ad spots. So congratulations, Arnell. Way to go, man. That's awesome.
Damn.
Fantastic. Jocelyn Wing back in the shoutouts, like third week in a row, right? Third week in a row, Jocelyn's been on here. Yeah. Social media marketing client for who she will do 1 hour of work for them weekly for $250. That's awesome. I don't know if that's is that $250
like a great deal to me?
Yeah. Is that $250 a week or is that $250 a month? Jocelyn, if you're on here, let me know. But yeah, I saw she was going in to meet, I think, with that client maybe. So you got this, Jocelyn, just like I replied in your Facebook post. So awesome job. Give Jocelyn some applause. I keep forgetting to hit that. It's so close now. It's like, ooh, I can actually use it. Our final shark shout out goes to Scott Meisner. So Scott finished number 12 and number 13 mailings of 2021. Think about that. It is, what is it now? August? It's the beginning of August. And since January 1st, Scott has done 13, getting ready to be 14 mailers.
Dear Lord.
That's it. I mean, that is, and Scott does not do this full time. Does everybody know that? Scott is a school teacher and he doesn't want to quit his job. He loves being a school teacher. So he does that. He does that part-time. I mean, that's amazing.
Man. Scott does so many mailers. He's going to have to figure out a way to make them more eco-friendly.
He said that's a personal best after 7 years of doing postcards. The average profit of each of those three was $5,500 with 6 more mailings this year and 80% filled already. Think about that. So that is what, 6? So that's 20 mailings. I mean, that is a hefty chunk of change right?
Man.
If he's doing 5,500, I mean, that's over $100,000 just from doing the mailer.
Just the front end stuff. Imagine all
just the front end stuff. That doesn't count. Scott is also a designer, so that doesn't count any design work he gets, any additional printing jobs, any solo mailings. Like lots of stuff comes off of that card. So way to go. I mean, Scott, that deserves applause and a golf clap. Way to go, man. I love seeing you have success. I got to meet Scott when he came to Maui, and super nice guy. Him and Dorn, though, they're running they've got the kid armies, the two of them, right?
Yeah, they do. They sure do. I always see Scott posting about his kids are in the background, like holding like stacks of mailers and stuff.
He has 10.
Yeah.
10
I think Dorn has 10 too.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Congratulations to all the shout out people. Really, really excellent work. And remember, if you come around at the end of the show and you've left a comment, we're going to pick out a few people so we can.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
Yeah.
We need to get some Cash App logos on there. I think we could use an update.
Yeah, I heard another song the other day that I thought was pretty good.
Did you?
Yeah. It's like, hey, maybe we can update that song.
I don't know.
Cool. All right, awesome. So that was our shout outs. You want to do the member of the week right now real quick, or you want to do it at the end?
Yeah, let's do it right now, and then let's bring out our special guest.
Okay, cool.
Have
So
some good questions going.
Yeah, awesome. So every week we celebrate a member of the week. And our member of the week is somebody who has really been crushing it in the community, inside the Facebook group. A good steward of our community is how I like to sign it up. And hold on, this new screen setup. I'm getting all wonky here. Okay, I found it. This week, I don't see a member of the week. Do you see a member of the week?
I saw a member of the week coming through our Facebook group. Let me see real quick.
It's not in the show notes. I can go in there. Hold on.
No member of the week this week.
Is that what they just said in Slack?
Yeah, there's no member of the week this week.
How could there be no member of the week?
What do you mean no member of the week? How about this? How about this? I have an idea. I have a plan. The member of the week is everybody is the member of the week, right? We're all members of the week. Give me a big shout out if you feel like you're member of the week. That's what we're gonna do. Everybody won. Here's what happened. I guess everybody on our shout outs had won recently as a member of the week. We might have to adjust our algorithm a little bit there.
We will. I love Shushan's emoji. It was like
I know. That's good stuff. Well, the truth is, everybody, I mean, you all are doing so fantastic. And I mean, the shout outs are just a small testament of that. I mean, just of the people that we've collected, a couple of people. I mean, I know for Scott that in the course of a year, that's $100,000, but even just in the last week for everybody, I mean, that's like around $15,000 collected in this group of just 4 people.
It's actually more than that. It's $23,590.
$23,000 in the last week from 4 people in this group. So just imagine what the other 10,000 are doing. So that's a pretty big testament to everybody that's just crushing in this group. So
yeah, it's really awesome. Yeah, if you ever Shushan adds that number to the show notes, which is really nice. We've been tracking it recently. Awesome. Gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, so then we don't have to do member of the week. That was easy. All right. Well, why don't you tell the sharks about our guest, Nick, and then we'll bring her out and we'll. Oh, I let the beam slip that it's a woman.
You let it slip. So
oops.
I'll talk it up a little bit though. So does anybody know? By the way, I know a couple people might have a good idea. Cameron said that we've tracked 237,000 in total sales of members in the last 2 to 3 months. Damn. That's I have to screenshot that. Hold on. That's awesome. That's incredible. You all
We should have like made some faces when you screenshotted it. Like,
yeah. All right, let me jump back to it because this is a really important topic, and I think it's one that a lot of people get a little scared of, and you don't need to be scared. And the reason you don't need to be scared is because through information, through knowledge, you can get over all of the obstacles you'll ever need in order to do effective sales and prospecting. And I know that to be true because I used to be terrified of doing sales and prospecting. In fact, yeah, it was more than terrified. And let's just say this morning I got on the phone. Haven't even been like calling people. I mean, you could argue that I am extremely rusty. And I made a sale for a $1,000 per month Google AdWords campaign to a carpet cleaner. And I'll be just straight up. I listened to one of the calls that our special guest had done the other day, and she had a great way to open the conversation, which I borrowed. I stole it.
Borrowed. Come on.
I borrowed it and repurposed it for myself, and it may have helped me attribute to having a little more confidence on that call, which is what I'm hoping that all of you will get from hanging out with us today and asking questions. So if you guys and gals are interested in that topic, please like the stream and please give me a warm welcome to Miss Lucy Brenton.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah,
those hands look really outsized from the perspective, you know. I don't have little hands, I guess.
Well,
awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a real honor.
And
yeah, we're excited you're here.
I mean, some people might be like, "Hey, I recognize your last name. Isn't that the level 12 megalodon from the Facebook group? Are you guys related somehow?"
Yeah, I've kept him as my concubine for 30 years now.
30 years.
30 years. He's going to love that. I'm going to hear about this later.
We should make a concubine badge for him, Nick. We can put it as a
badge.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
Dorn is exceptionally useful. He's a polymath, so it doesn't matter what problem we have around the house, whether it's fixing the house, fixing a computer, or fixing a person. He can do it all.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And he's good at doing marketing and sales and prospecting and just actually.
I'm better at those last two than he is, though.
Yeah, you are. I know you are. But I will say this about Dorn. He is like aggressive. He's consistent. That he has some serious consistency and commitment. And so I truly respect that.
True.
You can anybody that knows Dorn knows that he crushes at that. But enough about Dorn. I don't want to talk about Dorn anymore. I want to talk about you. Yeah. So you are very experienced in sales and prospecting. Maybe you could share a little bit about how you got started and all that.
I am, man, Sherman and the way back. So I'm not ashamed of my age. I'll proudly turn 50 next year. And
15?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I managed to have 10 kids in 30 years and I'm 15 years old. That's why Tom's using which way are you? That's why Tom's using the calculator, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you can be, bad at math and make a ton of money. Yeah, I literally was selling Comcast cable when I was 16 years old with a phone that you had to punch the buttons on and little dot matrix cards. So selling has been my entire life. And I'm so grateful for a profession that allows you to disconnect the level of your professional education with, the amount of money that you can make. Because I'm a liberal arts major. So, I can think and, be persuasive and all that kind of stuff, but it's not like a real skill, not like our computer scientists or engineers. So even liberal arts majors can make a ton of money.
Wow. And so how did you make that trend? I mean, you went from liberal arts, just one day you're like, I'm gonna go down the field of doing sales and marketing, or how did it?
Gosh, no, I listened. It came about to me, naturally. So for those of you who hate network marketing, I will just go ahead and share with you that for some people, it's the most amazing thing in the world. My mother was from Utah, the network marketing MLM capital of the world, and she actually started a network marketing company when I was 13, and it was still going. I think it collapsed about the time Dorn and I met, not because of Dorn, but just because back in the 80s, it's really hard to start those kinds of things. So I saw my mom selling my entire life, but what I wanted to correct that I saw in her that was the negative is the lack of consistency of jumping from product to product, and not really building that solid foundation. And so I resolved in my life that my skill set would be mine and that it would not be something that would get lost in the shuffle of, switching from company to company. And so I think that's kind of instructive for people that are entrepreneurs to make sure that you set aside a foundation for yourself and not just give yourself away to company after company.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so were you always like natural at selling, or did you, I mean,
Yeah.
how did you sharpen your skills or
Here's the sad realization I came to about 5 years ago, back in like 2016, 17. I mean, I'd had sales training throughout my life and mostly it sucked. And then suddenly I came across a sales training system that was really exceptional. So my whole life, I consider myself a salesperson. I consider myself to be persuasive. And I'm good naturally. If you have, gravity and charm and enthusiasm, and you can communicate well, if you're articulate, all those things are great. But I never knew that you could actually do sales on purpose, and that people that are introverted can do sales on purpose and feel comfortable doing it and have the kind of sales conversation that not only puts you at ease inside of a framework to completely be free to have a real conversation, a real consultation with somebody, but it also makes your prospect feel at ease because they know that you're not winging it. You're a professional. And so that really transformed my life. So all this time I thought I was great and I probably just sucked. So, hope is not lost for those of you who might feel a little trepidation surrounding sales, because you can be good on purpose.
It's interesting you say that. I think all of my prospects know that I'm winging it.
Never let them see you sweat. Are you old enough to know that commercial?
Yeah. But I can 100% agree with you. Like if you're not just natural at it, you can get good at it. And for me, I had to find like a little piece that I could get curious and passionate about. And the curiosity that led me into being all right with it was being passionate about actually building a website. Like I learned how to build a couple websites, and then I knew how difficult it was to build a website. So I could talk about that to somebody. I tried to like sell a website before I ever really did make one. And it didn't really work because I didn't really know what to talk about. I was just so hyper focused about the sale and collecting money and asking for money. I had a really difficult time asking for money. So, eventually when I kind of like had the things that I was interested about in what I was selling, I could talk about that more. And that helped me to get a little more comfortable. Is there anything that you would maybe recommend to people just to like help them get more comfortable?
Absolutely. Best advice ever is don't sell a product you don't believe in, because people will hear the bull, I don't know, shiitake in your voice. Am I allowed to cuss on here? I'm Doran's wife, so I'm probably going to cuss. Only sell what you believe in. And if you're in a situation where, when you're a salesperson, you have the responsibility to be honest and have integrity and be very forthright with people about what they're getting into. And as a salesperson, what I never want to have happen is I never want to take that sale, wrap it up, hand it over to operations, and then have it fail. And maybe that's my own ego speaking, because I don't want to look bad. I don't want to have the fulfillment end of this fail and have somebody come back to me telling me that I'm a scamster or something. So you've got to find, first of all, something you're passionate about and something that you believe in, and then make sure that you have the operation chops to back it up. So I'm pretty excited about those SOPs you put together, because I think it's going to really transform people and let that customer service and fulfillment piece allow their salespeople to shine.
It does. That's so true. It really does help a lot when you know that you're talking to somebody and you're potentially going to, do some sort of transfer of service or sales, and the work that you have to deliver on is going to be top shelf. It's going to be good. And maybe you don't have to do it. Maybe you're not doing it. Maybe you have some people that are helping you. You have some outsourcers, or you have a white label company or whatever it is. But I remember, Tom, don't you remember when Tom and I used to drive around all the time and meet customers and prospects, and usually they'd be leads that like he would get out of like networking and BNI and stuff. But we would go to these meetings and like, man, it was so stressful. We'd be going to the meetings and be like, I hope we sell a website, number one, or I hope we sell some services because we need money. But at the same time, we were like, man, it's a lot of work. Like we didn't know how to outsource. We didn't know how.
What do we do if they say yes? Remember that real estate agent? We were like, it was like the biggest website deal we had pitched, and we were like horrified. like of them saying yes. Like,
Yeah.
oh my
It was
God.
bad. It was
And
really
they
bad.
did say yes. So our nightmare came true, and we actually had to deliver on that thing.
You know, that really speaks to the balance and the different kinds of personalities. One of the things that we'll be talking about in training with me is DISC, and finding out where you fit on the personality profile, because you have the responsibility to meet them where their personality is. They're not adapting to you, you're not adapting to them. Bonding and rapport is really your responsibility as a salesperson. But the tendency that I've always had in my life, speaking to what Tom just said, is I want to like get up at the top of the mountain and you just throw the rocks off and then run like hell to catch up and try not to get crushed by them. But there are other people whose personality, other than building their parachute on the way down, they're really more about, thinking with the beginning in mind and the end in mind. So they first go to the end. They have a vision of really what they want to have happen. They work the steps backwards, so they know before they even start what the end and what the middle is. And depending upon your personality, you may handle your sales calls the same way.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really interesting way to like think it through. And that's also a big piece of it, is just like being able to think it through. And I think that just comes with experience. Let's just be honest. Your first few sales calls you're going to make, or whoever you talk to and you're trying to sell, they're not going to be good. Like they're just, if you are a rock star and they are great and you just crush it right out of the gate, then congratulations, you're amazing. Shoot us an email.
Yeah. We'd like to talk to you. Well,
That's not the likely story, right, Tom?
Yeah, no, and it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters whether you think you have the quote gift of gab or not. Like you're going to struggle, and you're going to struggle in the beginning, because I know in the beginning, like I talked myself out of a lot of sales. Like,
yeah. When they say yes,
the hardest thing for me to learn was when to just shut up.
Right.
Like say your part and shut up, because I just want to keep like, oh yeah, and it's like, and just talk myself right out of them. And I think
that's absolutely true.
Yeah. Well, and I think, Lucy, to your point from earlier, like a person who, when I think about the salespeople that that I think are the most effective, they're not the talkers. Like they're the ones that just have an aura of like competence around them. Because when somebody comes in that's a real boisterous, slap you on the back, we're all just having fun, like you think of a car salesman type person, right? Like who wants to be sold by that kind of a person, where even if the product they're selling you is really good, you still walk away feeling kind of like a little grimy. Like, didn't we have that happen one time, Nick? We bought something, remember? And it was like, it was good what we bought, but we were just like, we just felt a little awkward because the guy selling it was just so, he had that definite vibe.
That is so interesting, because if he had paid attention to you and your body language, the rate of your speech, the tonality, the vocabulary that you're using, he probably would have realized that he was being too boisterous. I have to hold myself back all the time. My natural personality is to be, a cheerleader or a performer. I did a lot of theater and ballet and all that kind of stuff when I was a kid. But really the attitude that you need to bring into a sales call is one of skepticism. You're sorting them out because you don't want to bring somebody into your world that's going to be a PITA, a pain in the ass. So you don't want any PITA customers. And the way to avoid that is to screen them with a lot of questions. Questions are going to have the highest authority. It doesn't matter what you say about you. It matters what they say about themselves. And so it's kind of a balancing act. When you're doing a sales call, it requires a lot of thought, a lot of flexibility in your thinking, because as somebody is saying something, you're not just coming up with your next response, right? So I have a list of stock questions just to keep myself back on track if I need to circle back to that. But really the questions are the most powerful. So before you make a statement as a salesperson, see if you can phrase it in a way that's actually a question and get them to say it, because what comes out of their mouth is more meaningful. Now they've declared it to the world. And now when you get to the closing end and you're like, hey, based on everything that you've said, because this, and this, you're not repeating back the statements that you made, which are meaningless to them. You're repeating back the words out of their own mouth, which they have to stand by or be a liar.
That's such a great point.
And it's once I started to realize that there's different formats you could use to having these types of discussions, either sales or prospecting or sales, because there's a difference, right? For those of you, I know that probably I'd be willing to bet everybody here knows, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Like prospecting is more building a list, right? Building a list, reaching out to people, introducing yourself. Selling and closing are a totally different thing, where it's like the actual part where you're trying to sell or close them. And a prospector will, it's like our agency growth machine websites, right? Everybody, we have a prospector that reaches out and does the business verification method. They give out listings to all these business owners, and they're just prospecting. They're just building the list. They're getting email addresses. They're starting the relationship. If they get in touch with somebody that, is like really interested in more information, they're going to transfer them over to somebody who sells. And that's the difference, right? So a salesperson, if you have somebody that's just dedicated to it, will focus on just doing the selling, because if they have to disconnect and do like cold calling and prospecting, it's going to be very difficult for them. Wouldn't you say, Lucy?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think people really need to disconnect the idea of prospecting and cold calling from selling. They're very, very different. And there are some really great programs that I use when I'm doing my cold calling, which we'll, happy to share if you guys want to know. I've got somebody that will set you up with that. There's a huge difference, because the cold calling is really just about getting them on the phone. So when I teach cold calling, it's going to be about how do you interrupt somebody's day? They're going along, maybe they're walking through the grocery store, maybe they're getting ready to do their next task at work. You're going to call it interrupt them, and you have to sound different. You can't sound like a telemarketer or like a recording. This is a real struggle for me, because I do voiceover work, and so I always sound like I'm on the radio. And so you really have to, I stutter and stumble on purpose. And so, I'm going to interrupt that person. I'm going to say, "Hey, it's Lucy." And they're going to be like, "It's Lucy." And they're going to like go through their mind. I'm going to give them a second or two to think, who the heck is this woman that's calling me? Go, yeah, my name probably doesn't ring a bell. I'm with Tie-Dye Digital. But hey, did I get you at a bad time? Or have you got like 30 seconds for the easiest sales call you'll get this month? And then they'll laugh. And then you've got to come across with a really strong value statement. What are the two benefits that are facing somebody in their position that's going to make or break them? What's going to get them to their next raise or keep them from getting fired? What are they responsible for that you're going to provide? And get that. And we'll work on that kind of scripting, because every business is different. But you can say like, hey, I work with CMOs who are responsible for growing the business. Is that something that sounds like it? Is that something that sounds like you? So you've got to put your own personality, your own words into it. Those of you who have studied NLP probably are aware of, visual, audio, kinesthetic. So you're going to be listening for any clues on what words they use. So if somebody says to me, man, I see what you're saying, I'm going to say, do you see what I'm saying? Or, do you see how that could work for you? But if somebody says, yeah, man, I get that, then I might be saying, do you get it? Do you feel it? And if they say, wow, I heard that, then it's a matter of, well, did you hear that? So match up their words to your words, because people like people that are like them.
That's such good information. And I think an experienced salesperson will have a lot of these different tools in their arsenal. And that's how you can tell an experienced person is they know their way around different conversations. They know how to start, they know how to open, they know how to transition into the close. And for me, I started to say a few minutes ago, I didn't realize there was a format that you could kind of follow. And once you become aware that there is a format and you listen to people that do it, that's really like a huge leg up. Like, for example, I regularly look at this stuff. I regularly study this stuff because I'm interested and I suck at it. So I want to do better. And so I was listening to this thing with the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, and Grant Cardone, right? They had this like big feud a little while ago where they were like, I'm the better sales guy. And just like egos came in and they couldn't, but they both have great tactics, their own tactics. And the stuff that they share is super helpful. And like, you get a little bit, as somebody that's new, you get a little bit each time from a different place, and you'll test it out and you'll see that it works and it makes a little more sense. And you start to really slowly build, your confidence builds. And at least that's my journey. That's what's happened for me. So Lucy's talking about how, for those of you that have already kind of caught on to that, she's actually going to be doing a sales and prospecting regularly weekly call in our Remote Millionaires program. And that's for those of you that already kind of heard about Remote Millionaires. We did a webinar, I think that was a week ago, right, Tom?
Gosh, I guess it's already been a week. Yeah.
Yeah. A week ago, where we're going to take some people and show them exactly what we're doing, give them all of our SOPs from our business, and also have subject matter experts, just like Lucy, with their own specific topic that they're experts in each week, just working with you and sharing their expertise. So if you haven't already filled out an application, you should do that. Tom, can you put the link to that up there? And because I mean, you know, we got about 80 people here. What are your all thoughts about some of the information that Lucy's already shared? Like extremely high expertise or level of expertise, super easy to follow, and it can certainly help you with your sales and prospecting. Wouldn't you agree? So
I can't see the comments, so I hope you're all being kind. Actually, you know, there's this concept of being, you know, not disconnected may not be the right word. Detached, I think, is the word that I'm really looking for. You have to be detached from the outcome of your sales call. It can't matter that much to you. And so it's so important that you have somebody doing the marketing on your team, or if you're doing it yourself in the prospecting, because if you don't have enough prospects, if the next sale, you know, is going to make or break you and you're not making your mortgage payment unless you make it, that stress is going to come out in your voice. You're going to be stilted. You're not going to have a real conversation. And at the end of the day, that consultative style selling, which is what I prescribe, is very much like a doctor taking an inventory of all of your ills, finding out what the pains are. If you went into the doctor with a broken leg and he didn't ask you any questions, you know, or you just got pain in your leg, you don't know what's broken or not, you wouldn't trust a doctor that didn't ask you any questions. But the more they ask, the more they probe, the more interested they are in your symptoms, lets you know that they're really trying to get a holistic idea of everything that's wrong with you in order to make sure that the right thing is recommended. And sometimes the right thing that's recommended is not to do it. So, you know, be open to that as well on a sales call, being able to tell somebody else no, and not needing, you know, not having it matter to you personally. Have that abundance mindset.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I you know, something that you've been doing that I want to circle back to for everybody here, because I know people are super interested in one of our strategies, the 9x12 strategy. I know that, and you've been doing it, right?
I just started it. I ignored Dorn for a year, just like any good wife probably ignores their husband as he's been working with you guys. And it's fun to you know, to laugh about it now, but I look at the missed time. So finally I started listening to him, and then I realized you had this mini billboard 9x12 postcard. And as, you know, a salesperson, I'm an extreme extrovert. I know not everybody is, but to me, how easy is it to just walk into the places you're already doing business with and offer them something of such immense value? And so Dorn put up KentuckyAnnaThrive.com for us, and I've gone out. I've got a couple of spots sold. I'm not doing it in 10 days like Scott's. No, I guess it was Ruben that did it in 10 days. Scott's done like 20 of these things by the end of the year. So those guys are completely blowing me away. I'm in the middle of my first one. But as a lead generation tool for a salesperson, what an amazing gift of value, and being able to invoke that reciprocity. It is simply brilliant. I have to give it to you guys on that one.
Yeah, I mean, that is obviously for biased reasons. That's my personal favorite method, right? When people are always like, I need to make money now. What do I do? I'm like, man, do that thing. Like, I know it works, right? Like, I know it works. But it goes back to exactly what you're talking about. If you don't have, like, if you're struggling with something to be confident in selling, that is something that you can really be confident in, because, you know, they're paying for the thing, not so much the results. Like, we talk about that a lot, right? Yeah. Like, you know, and you really don't have to be you don't have to be a great salesperson to sell that thing. Like, you literally just have to tell someone what it is. Like, you just say, this is what I'm going, like, you don't have to, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send this thing out to 10,000 houses. Like, you don't have to embellish on it. You don't have to try to, like, punch it up. You just tell them what it is. And, you know, it's enough for them to make a decision. But yeah,
just such a super low barrier, you know, to get $600 or $700 or $800 out of somebody. I mean, what a low barrier is that? I mean, the value, the lifetime value of a customer is so insanely easy to get when you're spending $700, right? Even if you're a pizza place, like the pizza place that's coming onto our card. My family, now we do have 9 of our 10 children still at home, and we have 3 grandkids. So, you know, when I buy pizza, it's like a $70 thing, not like a $25 thing.
Damn.
It's that way on Maui too, Lucy. even
Oh,
when you're
yeah,
just
that's
eating
But you
two.
get one pizza.
That's the personal pan pizza.
the $75. Now I have to ask,
Yeah.
ham and pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
I like it.
I
Yeah.
like it. It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we
I don't know
don't
that it's
order
like
it
a
all the
Hawaiian
time, but it's
thing,
pretty
but-
good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's funny is the next time you see a pizza commercial, all the deals for like any pizza place, you'll see like Pizza Hut. They're always valid everywhere except Hawaii. And they always say
Yeah.
that at the end, valid except in Hawaii and Alaska. 'Cause
Yeah, it's
crazy.
insane, especially, I'm from Indiana, so I'm a Hoosier, basketball and all that stuff. And I currently live in Southern Indiana. So Southern Indiana and like the Ohio River and then Kentucky, that's why we have Kentuckiana Thrive as our AGM site. Here's the weird thing too. Illinois, Iliana, Michigan, Michiana, there is no Ohioana. I don't know what it is with the east side of the state, but they are not with the program. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, since you mentioned that, Nick, about about the program and the SOPs and making sure people get in, because I'm delighted to talk with you and to do that kind of strategy session. It's not just a sales call. I mean, we'll get to that at the end, but there's so much more important things to suss out about you and who you are. And I'm going to ask you some personal questions, not that personal, but some things really about your psyche. And I'll call you out on your BS in that initial call if needed. So I'll give you a little bit of tough love. But the thing that I realized, when you're a salesperson, you get so sequestered. And really, it's not just salespeople. Any corporate environment, it's within the company's best interest to keep you in your cell, in your little part of the company. And so you don't understand until you get to higher levels of management how the different areas react. So as a salesperson, you've done your sales call, you marked closed, won, whatever in your CRM. Then it goes to somebody else. But you have no idea how those departments interact, how that information gets from one place to another, how the fulfillment happens. And so you become very blind. And it's like Michael Gerber's E-Myth, where he says you have your entrepreneurial seizure. So like you're a great plumber and you go out on your own, and then you like, why don't I have any customers? It's because you were never apprenticed. You never understood the from the beginning to the end, the relationships that are built that lead to the sales calls and the marketing that happens. So I think what's absolutely brilliant about what you've done, Nick, is with the SOPs, the people that are blinded by being sequestered into certain areas of the business that have real expertise in one area are so prone to being blind to the other areas. And I think this is behind what happens when you probably had people that have bought your courses that were smart, capable people who had every intention of following through. And then they didn't, because when it got to the next step, they didn't know what to do. But with an SOP, it's literally a recipe. You go step by step like a blueprint. And so the places that you're blind will be open to you. And that's probably the thing that I'm most excited about.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are because it's true. I mean, the whole reason we wanted to make this shift for our business, and basically at Offline Sharks, right? We want, like, our goal, our North Star of our company is really to help as many people as we possibly can build, replicate businesses that we have. Like that's really what it is. And if we kind of just keep that at the top, and that's our main goal, all the other stuff kind of falls into place, right? And so the thing that we were thinking about as a company and internally is like, well, how do we really do that? And even though, we are, I would say, the market leaders of over delivering high quality products for like an extremely low price. Like the Warrior Plus stuff that we give away could easily be packaged up and sold for thousands of dollars. There are people that sell for way more that offer way less. And
True.
the thing about that for us, though, that we've identified is we've been growing our business. We've been growing Offline Sharks community so rapidly that so many people come in at $27 for a product, and it's a little more difficult to help and support, especially the level that we have. We have such a massive team, such a big organization, to support that many people, all those people, as much as we possibly would like to keep that North Star our priority and main focus. So what we've realized is like, well, what can we give everybody to make all those dreams come true? Like, how could we give them the highest level of support that we possibly can? And what is that system? What does that program look like? And really that's where we landed, right? Like we took everything that we've been doing in our agency and hired somebody full-time in person to basically shadow us for an entire year and build out all of our SOPs. I mean, we did, this is a process. For those of you that don't know, like the standard operating procedures of our business. We've systemized everything. So everybody on our team, from the people that work in person to myself to outsourcers, had to go through this process of documenting each and every task. Like every 15 minutes, what are you working on? You write it down in spreadsheets, right? And that's like, once we get all that information up on one spreadsheet, then we break it down into like the little steps. So if I'm building a website or I'm hiring, this is how I do that based off of these little steps that I mapped out. So effectively, you have all the like inner workings and all the puzzle pieces of making every single thing in the business work, from outsourcing each specific service, how to hire, the organizational chart. Like if somebody could come into your business right now and have access to all those SOPs, they would know how to run the company. They would know how to bring people in, because those people that come in could also read the SOPs and know where to go to get questions or how everything else works. And at the end of the day, that was really the goal, is to be able to build something that we could kind of remove ourselves from if we wanted to. And that's what all those SOPs are. And I know that that's why everybody is so like wants to get their hands on those SOPs, because they see what we do and how valuable it is. And yeah, it's basically like a franchise without with a 0% royalty, like Cameron said. So if you guys are interested in hearing more about how to get those SOPs, go to the link that you see on your screen, offlinesharks.com/masterclass-replay. And we break that down a little more.
You know, one of the things that really came to my mind when you were talking, Nick, is a lot of people, because there's been so much hype and so many fake gurus. I mean, we could bitch about that for a while.
Lots of them.
When you have something that is grounded and real and actually works, a great question, and this is instructive for those of you that are looking to price your products at a premium, that question that you need to ask them is, well, you know, what do you expect to invest for something that is a real business that can return $500,000 a year? Now, it's going to take some work. You would expect a business that returns $500,000 a year or $100,000 a year to take some work. But what should that investment be? So when you're talking to somebody and they're like, yeah, I don't want to, you know, $3,000 for a website, man, that sounds crazy. $10,000 for a website. But yeah, what do you expect that website to do for you? Do you expect it to give you the kind of authority that converts customers? Well, then you better spend a little bit of money on it. You know, I'm not going to show up to sell $1 million house in a hoopty. You know, if I'm going to have to, you know, rent a Lambo for the day, I'll do that. You know, think about that in your business, because it's a very close analogy. The way that you present yourself online nowadays, you know, the expectation is excellence. And so think about that in terms of that. Another thing that came to mind while you were talking is the mental model. The way that you think, Nick, is completely different than the way that I think, because you're running a $500,000 agency. I'm a person that does sales. Not that I'm discounting my skill set, but I don't have the same skill set that you do. So the thoughts that I think inside my head, what seems right to me, is really based on speculation, imagination, and not reality. So for people to have access to your thought process and to the concrete actions that work, absolutely priceless. And in addition to that, I would recommend, if people aren't reading autobiographies, to go ahead and read autobiographies. Listen to what historical figures who are successful say in their own words, because it really informs you what they're saying to themselves in their own minds.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's actually something that Tom's really, really good at, is like the big picture stuff with, CEOs, people that are really good at what they do in these different types of industries and entrepreneurship and like levels of copywriting and things like that. I think that is one of the most valuable things you can do, is really get insight into people that are ahead of you, coaching, whatever, and get whatever you can out of whatever information they have online. I mean, in any situation of like trying to get to the next level, if you're even at, you know, you're at the $10,000 mark, maybe you've only collected $10,000 to get to the $50,000 per year mark. It's really about bottlenecks, you know, bottlenecks in your business, bottlenecks in your skill set, bottlenecks in lead generation. Like maybe you don't have enough leads coming in. Well, you have a bottleneck. You need to figure out how to run ads. You need to figure out how to do direct mail. You need to figure that out. But maybe the leads are coming in, but you can't close them. Well, then the bottleneck is your sales. Your sales suck. How do you fix that? Can you bring somebody else in, or can you learn that skill? So it's all about acquiring skills. If you're doing digital marketing like we are and everybody here, you acquiring skills is like your lifeblood. It really is. You don't have to be a 10 at all those skills. I was telling Cameron this morning that you don't have to be a 10 at all those things, right? Like I closed the carpet cleaning company this morning. And the way that I did that was I ran an ad, I brought them in, and I had to write the ad, I had to build the funnel, I had to do the copy, I made the phone call, I did it all. I did everything. And I'm not a 10 at all those things, but I'm like a 4 and a 5 at some of them, and some of them I'm a little better, right? So you can get a little bit of an understanding. And the way to shortcut your understanding is just by going to somebody who knows what they're doing and just getting the info from them.
And I also want to encourage people to, take advantage of the Mastermind Effect, because, I've said your name a whole bunch, Nick. I'm not giving Tom any love, even though he's amazing in his own right. We love you, Tom. I don't want to keep saying Nick's name and leave you out of it, because there would be no Nick without Tom, right?
That's right.
You're not a sidekick. You're a hero too. And I want to speak to the people that are straddling right now, because there are a lot of people that are coming into this program. And I love this, by the way. You're working a regular job right now. You have to have the discipline, and if you don't have it yet, you're going to have to develop it with the accountability to make sure that you're doing the right things at the right time in the limited amount of time that you have. And I want to encourage your mindset at your current job. And what I want to encourage is the idea of excellence where your space is already as an entrepreneur. Because if you're not giving the full value and measure to the person who is allowing you to work inside their business and who's allowing to profit share with you because they've hired you, they've brought you into their business, they're sharing their profits with you by employing you, you make sure that you do the best job that you possibly can for them, and you develop your own work ethic that way. That way, when you start to hire employees and they have some sort of BS, no work ethic, you don't make excuses for them. A lot of times entrepreneurs will make excuses for people. Well, they're not me, they're not an entrepreneur. That's total crap. When you walk the walk, then you're going to be able to hold people accountable to their BS. So even for those of you who are starting, maybe it's going to go a little bit more slowly for you because of your other obligations and you're straddling. I want to encourage you to provide that full measure to your own employer, because that is something that's going to translate over to you. Don't just be a lone wolf.
Yeah, that's
be
good
a Maui
stuff.
shark.
That's great advice. Yeah. Awesome. Well, man, the time flew by. Nick.
Time did flow by. Man, I kind of want to do a last call for questions. If you guys have any questions,
we should do a last call for questions. And then here's what I want to know, Nick, because I've been wondering this since the beginning of the call. What is it that you borrowed from Lucy for your call?
Oh, yeah. What is that? What'd you steal from me, man? S&D, swipe and deploy. Where's
time
my
for
frog?
confession, Nick. Fess up.
What did I do? What did I do?
What is it? I don't know.
Okay, so here's what I did.
I'm a grandma. I'm completely uncool.
So I didn't I felt like this is what I learned anyway from listening to your call. And by the way, for those, this is a huge pro tip. And I know Lucy will agree with me because we already talked about this. If you're not recording your sales call, the ones that you're making, or anybody in your team, you need to start doing that, because
yes.
you will review them and you'll in the beginning, you'll find what you feel isn't exactly the way you sound. You feel a lot more nervous in the way you sound. And sometimes you might sound pretty nervous too and feel nervous at the same time. But eventually, as you gain you get more comfortable, you'll notice that. And then you'll also notice hey, this is where I messed up. And this is what I could have said differently. And that will allow you to slow the tape down, right? Next time it happens, you have that tool in your arsenal and you can bust it out when you need it, right? So that's a huge leg up, is just recording your calls. So from recording my calls, I realized that I didn't do a good job, and listening to your calls, I didn't do a good job setting the stage when I first got on the phone. I didn't explain and this is kind of exactly what I said, the bit about this is how long I have for our call today. Does that still work for you? So, Hey, it's Nick, Nick Ponte Marketing. I have 30 minutes for our call today. Does that still work for you? And that kind of sets the stage. It's only going to be 30 minutes. You're not going to have to hang out with me for a long time. I'm going to try to get through it. And then you also say, I have a lot of questions. Feel free to ask me questions. But what brought you here to this call today?
Yep. I want them to spill their guts. And
that is just super helpful. Yes, they spill their guts, but it also just gets straight to the chase. What are you struggling with and how can I help you? I feel like when you get on the call and you're inexperienced and you don't have that kind of opening statement, you kind of dance your way around it for too long, and who knows where you'll end up, right? But this really sets the tone for the entire conversation. And it's only gonna be for 30 minutes. So give me the good stuff up front and we'll just figure out how to smash all of that and then, get to how we can help you. So that
is
really
so
helped.
true. Thank you for saying that. It's a great segue for me to say that's the Tao of selling: time, agenda, and outcome. Got 30 minutes set aside for this. Do you still have time? So you make sure what's on your agenda. What do you want to cover today? And then you need to be very clear about what the outcome is, because too many people go into a sales call with mystery. This is why you're getting people that are continually pushing you off, because you never set the rules at the beginning. You never told them they were going to have to make a decision today. And so saying something as simple as, hey, as we get towards the end of the call, we're going to be talking about getting your website done. And, all that stuff is really exciting. But if this isn't something that's for you, it's okay to tell me no. And you're fine with telling me no, right? Right. Or you're comfortable with telling me no, whatever language. And then the most important thing you can say next is, and if it's a yes, we're going to go ahead and hammer out a few details. I'll take your payment and get you started today.
I see. That's where I kind of like didn't do good this morning. But
tell them what yes looks like. You tell them what no looks like.
Is it me cutting out or is it Lucy?
Oh, I think you cut out just for a minute there, Lucy. But then that was great. You were saying, tell them what yes looks like. I mean, I was listening to one of your calls the other day, and that was what really stuck out to me in the beginning, was that part you said where you're like, look, and if it all matches up, then we know we can move forward. And if it doesn't, like, it would just all sounded so, professional, competent, what you're doing, and it didn't make you feel pressured at all. You're just like, okay, let's go.
See, that's part is scripted. I have 2 screens up. So if I'm talking to somebody, I've got the screen I'm making notes in, and I've got some things that are scripted. You just don't want to forget that. And when you get to the end of the call and it goes to a decision, and it's perfectly fine, when we get into the training, you're gonna all of a sudden figure out why certain things happened in your past, like why at the end they all of a sudden sprung it on you that they've got a business partner or a spouse. Totally your fault for not asking that right up front. You should be asking, hey, is there anybody else that needs to be on this call? Who else cares about this situation that needs to be listening to us right now? And feel free to put that call off. Your time is, your time is precious. Then once they agree to that decision call, it's your job to post-sell them, meaning you're going to say to them, now this is without shame or judgment, but if I've got somebody, it's like, okay, great. So Tuesday at 4:00, perfect. You got that time on your calendar? Yep. I'm sending you a calendar invite. Hey, by the way, I'm putting this time on my calendar for you, which means I can't talk to anybody else. It takes away my opportunities. So if I put you on my calendar, you'll show up, right? Even if it's to tell me no.
That's
and
huge.
Then shut up.
Somebody said they're not logged in, but they said that's exactly what was said to me. I recognize now that made me invest in Remote Millionaires. Thank you, Lucy. Which
can't wait to see you in the group, Anonymous.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but that is so important for me and Tom to hear too, though, is because I think a lot of people, if you've ever been caught on like a high pressure sales call, like for me, I absolutely hate that. Like I can't handle that. Like it makes me. I have like the worst day after I get put in that scenario. Like I have like the opposite effect on people when they try to do that stuff to me. For some reason, I just go like crazy. And we never wanted to ever do that in our, like with people, right? Like we want to just see who's there out there. We strongly believe in our solutions to helping people. We know that we can help people if they're a good fit. So we just want to find out if they're a good fit. And that's a huge testament to have somebody come back, Lucy, and say like,
thank you.
I appreciate the conversation we had, and I'm really excited to get started. And I can guarantee you that person is going to show up to your weekly call and try to learn more about, what you're good at and what you've done, because I mean, what more of a testimonial could you ask for, right?
Right. And I know we're starting to go over, but I want to leave you guys with a really important concept. There should be no shame. There should be no judgment. There should be no bullying in your sales tactics. If you are sincere about creating a long-term business with monthly recurring revenue, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And people know that. So if you're creating shame or judgment or bullying in your sales calls, what kind of relationship do they expect to have with you throughout the process? Are you going to gaslight them on, the color or logo of their website? People don't, no, you can't have orange. Home Depot owns orange. But seriously, you have to think about that, because the days of, used car salesmen and these smarmy sales tactics are gone. People are more sophisticated. They want to be treated like adults, and they want their wishes honored without shame or bullying. So please just don't do that. If you do nothing else, just don't do that.
Yeah, so true. Well, Wow. Yeah, the time really did fly by. It really, really did.
Yeah, that was awesome stuff, Lucy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Lucy, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. And again, for those of you that would like to learn more from Lucy, pick up all my SOPs, work with us more closely this year, check out the link at the bottom of your screen, offlinesharks.com/masterclass-replay. And of course, we wouldn't be able to get off this call without giving away some more Cash App money. So
yeah, let's cue.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling. Got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
That is lit.
So our two winners are Janice Douglas and Paula. Thank you so much for congratulating everybody.
That just says congratulations.
That just says congratulations. And also, so
He just came and hopped in my lap.
if any of you got anything, any value out of this call today, please show Lucy some love in the comments, tag her, thank her. She's in the Facebook group. I know I got a lot of value out of it. And thank you all for hanging out with us. It was a great, great live show.
Yeah, I did. I got a ton of value out of it too, Lucy. I'm really excited to have you as part of the RMM program, and I know you're going to crush it. People are going to love it, and love to see all of you guys. You know, those of you that want help, want to build a big business, let us know. I'd love to see you on the inside. So check out the replay first, see if maybe you're a good fit, and we can talk more after that. All right, awesome. Let's hold on. I am going to cue
Same
the
time.
outro.
You've been listening to the Sharks Live Show, your weekly local marketing jam session. Every week, packed full of local marketing strategy, tactics, tips, and fun. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube and Tom's podcast at tomgaddis.com. We'll be back here next Friday for another Sharks Live Show. Until then, aloha.